Welcome everyone to another one of our training vlogs. We are on a new training phase. We're back to work. Our schedules are a little bit different than they were from the last vlogs you guys saw with the little Christmas break we had for the 2 weeks of not setting an alarm, getting up when we want to, even though we were still getting up probably pretty early. Now we're back on schedule. This semester my teams train a lot later in the day, so my first group isn't until 12. So the plan is to keep getting up relatively early. I think like 5:15, 5 o'clock my alarm was set for today. Hopped up, turned the heater on in the garage, let that kind of marinate for like 30, 40 minutes before coming out here, and then spending hopefully from like 5:45 to like 7 is the goal. Lifting, getting my workout in, then just kind of going through the rest of my morning, getting into work maybe by 9 or 10, depending if I have any meetings ahead of time or if I have to be in early or not. So for this next phase, I think we talked about it last video, we're still going to continue on this like hypertrophy focus. There's going to be some different aspects to the training. We were doing a lot of technical work on our cleans, working on positions. Now we're going to take all that, put it together to make sure that our hang cleans, hang snatches, and I think we're going full cleans. Pulls are good, positions are solid. Like we took what we learned from that block and now put it into use in this training. We're also diving into some of Jake Tura's. If you haven't heard of any of his stuff, definitely look him up online. Absolute mastermind for hypertrophy clusters. So we've got 8 sets of 5. Strict press, bench. So for the strict press today, we've got 8 sets of 5. Right into hammer raises, and then 45-degree back extensions. The rest should really kind of be like minute, 30 seconds. You kind of want to cluster these a little bit more. How I'm going to set up for A block is strict press, core, 45 back, and then we're going right back into the strict press. So roughly should be about a minute, maybe a little bit over a minute for total rest between the strict presses. So we're going to hop into a couple of the sets here, give you guys some insight to it. I'll probably wait to the end to kind of dive into anything more, just because I do want to keep this rest a little bit more precise than going on rants like we're doing right now. So let's get into this, show you what we got going on. So just got done that 5th set. I'm keeping an eye on the clock to make sure this doesn't run too far over. But you guys saw the strict press, gar hammer raises, back extensions. Accessory work is done. It was only 3 sets for each of those. So now we're just kind of hitting the strict press, resting in between. The idea behind the hypertrophy clusters is creating the same amount of volume would with like 4 sets of 10, 3 sets of 10, right? That higher volume, but now then the volume's much lower. The intensity can be higher, but you're still going to accumulate that volume over the course of the entire sets. And with the limited rest, you're still going to get that metabolic stress you're looking for. So far liking them. Squats yesterday sucked. I didn't film them, but so far liking these strict presses. Also liking the pace it keeps me on for each one of these lifts. So that's a wrap on the hypertrophy clusters for strict press. Set 7 and 8, definitely fatigue started to set in. I could feel it on, I think it was even my last set of 8, like the fourth one, like I like kind of inherently went for a little bit of like a knee drive to try to get it off. And also I felt like on the 7th, 8th set, just starting to bow a little bit more pressing instead of boom, rib cage pulled down, squeezing my glutes, pressing overhead. So one thing I could do next week, because the sets and intensity increase, is maybe move to more of a B stance that we talked about before, just so that way I can keep more of a neutral pelvis and help with the pressing. But volume intensity, man, like that 67% for the 10 sets of 5, no, 8 sets of 5, my bad, wow. 8 sets of 5 for 40 total reps with that 4-second eccentric, again, was perfect. Like the last 2 sets challenging, a little bit of fatigue in like set 5 and 4 of that 7 set, and then definitely like the grind of that last set, making sure that like we're staying in control, squeezing my butt, pressing as hard as we can up. So liking them. I've done hypertrophy clusters in the past before, maybe like a year and a half, 2 years ago. It was like a summer workout I put together and I enjoyed them. One thing this year, or this time around, not this year, but this like phase, is being more strict to the rest intervals. So, okay, we get done, look at the clock, it's 45. We're going that next minute, and that way just trying to get a little more metabolic stress and also not make this go 2 hours long. So going to warm up for bench. Bench is by itself. I think it's like 185. I think it's 67% again is the intensity. 8 sets of 5, minute rest in between. I'll give you guys a couple clips of that. The accessories, we'll go over how they're going to change a little bit today, just because what I programmed, I was planning to be at work lifting, so I don't have 1 or 2 pieces of equipment. But make changes and just keep going and just get it done. B block, same thing as the strict press. We're following those hypertrophy clusters. 8 sets of 5, 4-second tempo on the way back down. Minute rest in between each one of these sets. So set 1, want to be a little bit more intentional with that 4 seconds on the way down. I know it's going to catch up to me later in these sets going through. Set 1, not super challenging, definitely that 4th and 5th set. I don't think it was moving as fast, but I wouldn't say I was close to failure. So another good picking of intensity, volume, plus the time under tension. The time under tension is something I'm adding, so then taking Tura's direct prescription, I'm altering it just a little bit to take into consideration that time under tension. Because if you're like, oh, I'm doing 8 sets of 5s, total 40 reps, you look at Pelopin's chart, you look at a relative intensity chart, you're like, cool, I'm going to stick at 75%. You need to account for the time under tension, because that is going to alter what you can maximally lift if you do keep a true 4-second eccentric, 3-second eccentric, however you do your tempos. You need to take that time into consideration. But a couple more seconds, we're going to hit this next set. I'll give you guys probably 1 more clip to this bench before moving on to the accessories. Made a complete rookie mistake where I was just counting tempos, at least trying to count the tempos on the way down. I have no idea the number of reps I did. I'd have to look back. I think it was 5. I might have done 6, but I know about halfway through I was counting down the tempo and I was like, what rep am I on? So, little rookie mistake. Hopefully we did get all 5. I'm gonna hate if I go back and look at the clip and it was only 4, but it happens. Counting tempos plus also counting sets sometimes gets tricky and all that, but is what it is. But just pointing out to you guys that I'm human and I make mistakes and I'm not perfect. Probably none of you thought I was perfect, but just figured I'd be honest in case you're watching the clip and like, why did I only do 5 reps on that? Or he did 6 instead of 5. He said he was doing 8 by 5. So just being honest with you guys when I screw up and make mistakes. All right, I'm gonna run you through C block. We got our 3-point dumbbell row, dumbbell curls, tricep extensions. I think it's either 3 sets of 12 for all of them or like 12, 12, 10. I'd have to look at the sheet and all that, but 3-point dumbbell row, just making sure we're getting that good arc row into that pocket. Trying to avoid on these rows shrugging up and thinking more so rowing back, making sure we're engaging our lats. Curls, tricep extensions is what we got left. All right, guys, so you saw everything for this day 3 training vlog. The accessory work we're doing, triceps. So this cable pull down, my wife actually bought it off of Amazon. It was one of the programs she was following online. And for the price we paid, it's not bad. The only thing I hate about it is as you're going, if you get a little bit of like momentum or just a consistent speed, it starts to swing a little bit, and I'm not fully, not bought in is the word I'm looking for, but like precise on the weight I need to go based on either like a cable stack, how much weight is on it, or even how much weight the metal pin, because it's a welded eye loop in the top for the carabiner. So really just what that can take. But that's the end of day 2 of this training vlog. Didn't get to film yesterday's for the YouTube channel. There is clips of it on my Instagram, so if you want to go check it out. But basically it was cleans, back squats, posterior chain, some adductors and calves. There's a cool exercise in there. If you follow my Instagram, I had my track team do this fall. They're butterfly eccentric adductors. Really cool way to kind of like add some eccentric loading to your adductors. Also increase some mobility through stretching it a little bit further, range of motion. Just like it a little bit better as a progression to like Copenhagen's, med ball squeezes, just finding a way to work those adductors. But I appreciate you guys if you made it all the way through the video. If you guys have any questions on the program, feel free to leave them in the comments. If you want, you can follow me on Instagram, Devin_SNC_coach. I put out a lot of my own personal training, my team's training. I do a lot of free giveaways like programs, Excel sheets and all that. So feel free to check that out if you're interested in more of like programming besides what you're seeing here on the YouTube channels. I'll see you guys next time for probably day 3 of this training vlog.